ये जो 23(1)(a है कि अगर कोई
हाँ
अपने ही बेनिफिट नहीं ले सकता अपने ही गलती का,
हाँ हाँ
तो सर इसमें क्वेश्चन है कि मान लीजिए पत्नी क्रुएल्टी करती है, ठीक है,
जी
और
हाँ
बाद में डिवोर्स की पिटीशन फाइल करता है, डिवोर्स की डिग्री ग्रांट हो जाती है, तो
ठीक।
सर क्या वाइफ जो है वो मेंटेनेंस क्लेम कर सकती है क्योंकि उसी की
तो
गलती की वजह से?
मेंटेनेंस दैट इज सेपरेट इशू। मेंटेनेंस को कहीं भी आप एलिगेशन से अटैच मत करिए और बिल्कुल कंफ्यूज मत होइए। मेंटेनेंस दैट इज अ सेपरेट इशू एंड डाइवोर्स इज द सेपरेट इशू। ठीक है। हाँ, और जहां डाइवोर्स हो जाता है वहीं पर मेंटेनेंस अलाउ किया जाता है, पहली चीज। और उसके जो प्रोविजन आपके यहाँ दिए गए हैं हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में, ठीक है, उन प्रोविजन को देखें, 24 और 25 हैं, दो प्रोविजंस हैं मेंटेनेंस पर हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में। देयर प्रोविजन है, हैव यू देयर प्रोविजन राइट नाउ? 24 मेंटेनेंस पेंडेंट लाइट है एंड 25 दैट इज परमानेंट एलिमनी। आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
यस सर।
अच्छा, पेंडेंट लाइट का क्या मतलब होता है? पेंडेंट लाइट माने मुकदमे के दौरान मेंटेनेंस। ठीक है। तो उसमें देखिए कोई भी पार्टी किसी से मेंटेनेंस मांग सकती है, यहां ये नहीं है कि वाइफ ही मांगेगी, ये इक्वल फुटिंग पर है। जिस पार्टी के पास मेंटेनेंस के फाइनेंस नहीं है वो जो है मेंटेनेंस क्लेम कर सकती है। तो वो कंसेप्ट अपने थ्रो कर दीजिए हिंदू लॉ पढ़ते वक्त कि जो है केवल वाइफ मेंटेनेंस मांगती है, नहीं, यहाँ वाइफ हस्बैंड दोनों मेंटेनेंस मांग सकते हैं। तो कोई भी ऐसी पार्टी जिसके पास अपना सेल्फ जो है फाइनेंस नहीं है, मुकदमे के दौरान, पेंडेंट लाइट कहते हैं इसको, वह जो है मेंटेनेंस क्लेम कर सकता है। और दूसरा जो है वो 25 है जो कि प्रोविजन ये बनाता है कि परमानेंट एलिमनी मीन्स आफ्टर डाइवोर्स the maintenance should be permanent maintenance should be granted to the party who are financially weak, having no any finance to maintain. Are you getting my point?
यस सर।
हाँ, तो वो आपका जो कंसेप्ट अगर पहले से जो बना हुआ है उस कंसेप्ट को हिंदू लॉ पढ़ते समय ओवरथ्रो कर दीजिए। हिंदू कंसेप्ट बड़ा डिफरेंट है और यहाँ कोशिश ये की गई है मेंटेनेंस के संदर्भ में कि मेंटेनेंस जो है मैरिज एक्ट, एडॉप्शन एंड मेंटेनेंस एक्ट सेपरेट इशू है। एडॉप्शन एंड मेंटेनेंस में सेक्शन 18 जो है वो केवल वाइफ को मेंटेनेंस क्लेम करने का राइट देता है, दैट इज अनदर प्रोविजन। लेकिन हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में अगर डाइवोर्स हुआ है तो मेंटेनेंस कोई भी पार्टी क्लेम कर सकती है। समझ गए?
यस सर।
हाँ
और सर एक और क्वेश्चन था
हाँ, बताएं।
कि सर जैसे ये 13(1) में जो ग्राउंड दिया गया है कि अगर 7 साल के लिए वो 7 साल से पता नहीं उसका तो प्रिज्यूम कर लिया जाएगा डेड है,
जी,
तो सर मान लीजिए हस्बैंड कहीं जाता है ट्रिप पे या वर्क पे जाता है, वहां से वो गुमशुदा लापता हो जाता है, तो क्या
हाँ
वाइफ को 7 साल इंतजार करना ही होगा, मस्ट है?
हाँ हाँ, मस्ट। और इंतजार ही नहीं करना होगा। अगर 7 वर्षों से नहीं जाता है तो ऐसा नहीं है कि 7 बरस खत्म होते ही आपका डाइवोर्स हो गया। ये ग्राउंड है डाइवोर्स का। 7 साल के बाद आपको मुकदमा दायर करना पड़ेगा और मुकदमा दायर करके आपको जो है डाइवोर्स की डिक्री लेनी पड़ेगी। समझे आप?
यस सर।
हाँ, ये असल में एविडेंस एक्ट में है जिसमें प्रिजम्पशन किया गया है कि ए पर्सन हु इज नॉट नोन कंटिन्यूअसली फॉर 7 years, then the presumption is that he is dead for civil purposes. वर्ड वहां पर सिविल पर्पस है, ध्यान दीजिएगा। और मैरिज इज आल्सो ए मैटर ऑफ द सिविल, तो दैट्स व्हाई हियर दिस ग्राउंड इज एडेड अंडर द हिंदू लॉ that if a person is not known for 7 years, then this is a ground. Getting my point?
यस सर। थैंक यू सर।
Okay. Now we shall start because number of students are sufficient. we can start. Now I think that in last lecture we have discussed the mutual consent theory of divorce, and in the mutual consent theory we have discussed the controversial issues. The first issue, which we have already discussed, that 6-month cooling period which is prescribed under 13B(2), whether it is mandatory or directory. Through cases we came to the conclusion power is given to the courts that the court may relax this 6 months according to circumstance of the case. The second issue which we have also in this relation, once the consent is given for mutual divorce, whether any party can withdraw the consent, and we have actually discussed a number of the cases on this issue, and ultimately we can very well say that here the approach of the court regarding the withdrawal of the consent, that approach is very clear. Here the court has pointed out that once the consent given, it may be withdrawn at any time. It may be withdrawn at any time. So these are the issues which were there. Now I think that any person having the syllabus of Hindu law, are you getting my voice? Any person having the syllabus of Hindu law?
Yes, sir.
What are the topics which are prescribed? Kindly read down. Read out. The first.
So, sources of Hindu law.
Then we have completed.
School of Hindu law.
We have also completed.
Third is law relating to marriage, essential condition, or Hindu Marriage Act 1955.
We have already discussed. Next.
Next is matrimonial remedies.
Matrimonial remedy. We have completed it also. Acha, in matrimonial remedies, what are written? Topics, subtopics?
Nullity, restitution of conjugal right, judicial separation, dissolution of a marriage by divorce.
ठीक है, तो I think that every aspect we have discussed. This is the last aspect which we are going to discuss today. अच्छा, इसके बाद क्या है? After that,
Sir, law of succession, Hindu Succession Act 1956.
कोई और कोई टॉपिक है ही नहीं. This is the last topic, huh? But the syllabus is very inappropriate. Maintenance नहीं है, adoption नहीं है, माइनॉरिटी नहीं है, गार्जियनशिप नहीं है, जॉइंट फैमिली नहीं है, कोपार्सनरी नहीं है. चलिए, we shall try our best to.
सर है सर, एडॉप्शन है.
बाद में
एडॉप्शन और मेंटेनेंस है. एडॉप्शन एंड मेंटेनेंस है.
ये कब जोड़ा गया?
सर ये सिलेबस में दिख रहा है सर.
BLLB का तो नहीं देखा?
नहीं सर, नहीं.
Are you sure you are?
Yes sir.
Yes.
Adoption and maintenance, it is also incorporated. ठीक है? But regarding the co-pastory and joint family, no. चलिए, उसको मैं टेकअप करूंगा दूसरी तरह से. When I will discuss the succession, then naturally without co-pastory we cannot discuss the succession.
Because co-pastory दिया हुआ है सर. ये तो सब टॉपिक दिया हुआ है पार्टनरी.
हाँ, को-पार्सनरी दिया हुआ सक्सेशन में, लेकिन को-पार्सनरी का कंसेप्ट क्या है ये तो बताना पड़ेगा ना. विदाउट डिस्कसिंग द कंसेप्ट ऑफ को-पार्सनरी you are not able to analyze the amendment which are being introduced. What earlier law was and what the amendment has been introduced, I think that you are not able to know. ठीक है? Now I want to proceed further because today I want to finish this matrimonial causes, matrimonial relief. and then we shall start the succession, and then we shall take up the adoption and maintenance. So now one more thing, we have discussed the mutual consent, divorce by mutual consent. Mutual consent means when the parties are consenting for the divorce. Conditions are very clear. What is written in 13B1? Parties should live separately for 1 year. And the second one, that they are not able to live together. And the third, they mutually agreed to obtain the divorce. Now the question is, when 13B permitting that divorce may be granted on the basis of mutual consent, then my question is, suppose the party enter in the compromise, and under that compromise, if they enter, they use the word that they wanted to get the divorce, whether the divorce can be granted. It is out of 13B. Why it is out of 13B? The reason is very clear. Because under 13B, certain conditions are very much laid down. But here, only by compromise, whether the parties are able to get the relief. Now, the cases want to put before you, and these cases are very important one. One by one, case by case, we shall discuss. If any agreement or compromise has been made by the parties, then whether the compromise or agreement will be effective, valid or not. Here the cases I want to put before you, the cases are Indrawal versus Raman. This is actually the case of 1981 Allahabad High Court. Here observation of the High Court is very clear that if any compromise being made by the parties, under that compromise they agree for the divorce, the question is that whether the compromise is valid, lawful or not. Here in this case, Allahabad High Court was very clear on the point. Any compromise is being made by the parties, that compromise is not unlawful. It is not unlawful, unlawful nahi, it is not unlawful. The person who has projected is projecting unlawful. No. Allahabad High Court was very clear on this point that if compromise is being made for the divorce, then compromise is not unlawful. It is very clear, not unlawful. Here, it has also been pointed out by Allahabad High Court, but the compromise should not having any element of collusiveness. Collusiveness means ऐसा ना हो कि पार्टी आपस में ही कोई कलूजन कर लें, कोई मंत्रणा कर लें और वो मंत्रणा करके कलूजन के थ्रू जो है पिटीशन दायर करें फॉर ऑब्टेनिंग द डाइवोर्स. तो हियर द provision is very clear. Provision, but this is decision. Decision of the Allahabad High Court is very clear. Allahabad High Court has pointed out that this compromise is not unlawful. It means it is lawful. And caution is given by the Allahabad High Court. The caution is that it should not be collusive. Collusive means it should not be between the parties having bad intentions. Collusion na hona chahiye. But the question is, when the compromise is being made, naturally the compromise always affected by collusion. The party met together, they compromise with each other. So it may be possible, it may not, but in all the cases it is possible that the collusion may indirectly be here. So that's why Allahabad High Court's proposition, no doubt it is clear. But so far as the precaution which is being taken, required to be taken, that that part is not actually very well. Now, another case in this regard I want to put before you. The case is Santosh versus Virender. But before discussing that, I want to put the same case in Rawal versus Raman. And the fact of the case was that husband had filed a petition for divorce on the ground of the wife's adultery. In Rawal versus Raman, the fact of the case was divorce petition was being filed by the husband against the wife, and here the ground of the petition was adultery and desertion. Later on, the parties entered in the compromise and wanted that divorce should be made, and the court actually treated this petition, or you can say converted this petition into the mutual consent divorce. So this is very important. Compromise can be made during the proceeding according to Allahabad High Court. Now the second case which I want to put before you, the name of case is Santosh versus Virender. This is actually 1980 Rajasthan High Court development. Here, a petition for divorce on the ground of cruelty and desertion again allowed. Why? Because here original petition was for cruelty and divorce, but allowed to be converted. It was allowed to be converted. This is very important. Petition originally was divorce petition, but it was allowed to be converted into the mutual consent. And here also all the formalities which is required to be followed, the formalities were also being waived by the court. So this is Santosh versus Virender. This is the decision of the Rajasthan High Court. The proposition is very clear. Here actually the petition was being filed for the divorce, and later on that divorce petition was converted into the mutual consent divorce. Formalities are actually being waived out and divorce was granted. Now another case, that is Karnataka High Court. The name of the case is Ms. Ansayamma. Here actually there is one provision in the Civil Procedure Code, and the provision is Order 21 Rule 3. The provision is Order 23 Rule 3 of the Code of Civil Procedure. If any compromise, here actually if you go through the CPC under this Order 23, you will get the provision that here the parties may enter in the compromise, and it is actually allowed under Order 23 that the party may enter into compromise or agreement. But the question is, if any agreement or compromise where the parties are allowed under Order 23, whether it is legal in relation to Hindu Marriage Act or not. Here the proposition which is laid down by the court, Karnataka High Court, the case is Munish versus Ansayamma. Here the court has pointed out any compromise which is recorded under Order 23, Rule 3 is not legal. And this compromise is against the spirit of Section 13 and 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act. It means that the compromise may be made. If you analyze all the cases, you may come to the conclusion that the compromise may be made by the party. It is allowed by the court. It is allowed by the court. But that compromise cannot be regarded under Order 23, Rule 3. This cannot be regarded under 23, Rule 3. Record is being made under 23, then it is not legal. And here, the petition cannot be filed. One more judgment, this is the Supreme Court judgment, but unfortunately this judgment is not on the Hindu law, but this judgment is on the Divorce Act. Divorce Act means this is actually applicable in relation to Christians, Indian Divorce Act. Here the proposition which is laid down by the Supreme Court in the case of Raymond versus Union of India, this is the decision of 1982 Supreme Court, Raymond versus Union of India. Here it has been pointed out. It has been pointed out that divorce cannot be granted on the basis of mutual compromise between. Divorce cannot be granted on the basis of mutual consent of the parties. Why this proposition is laid down? The reason is very clear. Because this decision is not on the Hindu law, this decision is on the Indian Divorce Act, which is applicable in relation to Christian divorce. And if you go through the provision of Indian Divorce Act, when this decision was given in 1982, there was no provision for mutual consent divorce in the Indian Divorce Act. Since there was no provision under the Indian Divorce Act for the mutual consent divorce, then naturally the decision of the court will be accordingly. Therefore, this proposition which is laid down by the Supreme Court, this should not be made applicable in relation to Hindu law. But here some more decisions also, which is in consonance with the Supreme Court decision, and the name of the case is Apurva versus Mansi. This is decision of the Calcutta High Court. This is decision of the Calcutta High Court. And in this decision, the court has pointed out that the divorce cannot be granted on the basis of compromise between the parties. Divorce cannot be granted on the basis of compromise in the parties. It means what? If any compromise which is being made, then the divorce cannot be granted. So this is actually the decision which was given, but we can say that decision is not on the right direction. It is actually not in consonance with the earlier decision. Therefore, we can very well say that the decision which is given, that is not a good one. So these are the few decisions which I want to put before you. Indian Divorce Act is available today. It is still available. Indian Divorce Act is still available. You can get it also. Here, so far as other cases on the divorce, one more case I want to put before you. The name of the case is Sri Latha versus Sapti Kumar. This is Kerala High Court decision 1998. I am repeating again the name of the case, Sri Latha versus Shipti Kumar. Here actually the compromise was being made and signed by the parties. Under the compromise, the husband was required to pay the 2 installments to the wife for the maintenance. Court's approach in this case was very clear. Court has pointed out that divorce can only be final when the second installment shall be paid by the husband to the wife. When the second installment shall be paid by husband to the wife. So this is the cases where compromise actually, which is made between the parties, it has been taken as illegal, except 1 or 2 cases. And if any compromise is being made, on the basis of which divorce may be granted. Now one more fundamental question I want to put before you. Under mutual consent or under the compromise, either mutual consent or compromise. Either under mutual consent or compromise, the decree has been given. And this decree we may classified as a consenting decree. I think, have you studied the CPC? क्यों भाई, any person come out? Have you studied the CPC? Please come out by voice, any person. Have you studied the CPC or not? It is not very difficult question, but no student is coming out.
सर यस सर सेकेंड सेमेस्टर में पढ़ चुके हैं
तो आपने अपील का प्रोविजन भी, क्यों भाई?
यस सर
अपील का प्रोविजन पढ़ा होगा। तो अपील के प्रोविजन
कोविड-19 की वजह से,
हाँ, क्या कोविड-19 कहा गया?
कोविड-19 की वजह से नहीं सिलेबस हो गया था।
अरे यार, फिर भी ये तो फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चंस है जिसको आपको बेटा पढ़ना पड़ेगा। ये आप कहीं कंपटीशन में ये नहीं लिखोगे कि कोविड-19 की वजह से क्लास नहीं हो पाए, है कि नहीं? कभी नहीं लिख सकते हो आप। अब आप अपील में अगर पढ़िएगा तो अपील में ये लिखा हुआ है कि अगर कोई डिक्री पास की जाती है तो उसके अगेंस्ट जो फर्स्ट अपील एज ए मैटर ऑफ राइट होता है। यानी जो भी डिक्री होती है, इफ देयर इज एनी डिक्री पास्ड बाय द सिविल कोर्ट, देन द फर्स्ट अपील, the right of the first appeal given as a matter of right. But here the provision is also in the same section that if there is a consenting decree, compromise nahi hai, this is consenting decree, then right of appeal will not be available. The reason is very clear. What is the reason? The reason is, since the decree has been passed by the court on the basis of compromise or consent, then there is no question of appeal. Why? Because the party when consented, then only the court passed the decree. Now, I am coming on the problem of the Hindu law. Here under Hindu law, mutual consent means by consent of both the party, divorce has been granted. And once the divorce has been granted, the question is that whether appeal is allowed or not. क्यों भाई? Any person may come out. Marriage is also the civil marriage, civil matter. Please come out, any person. This is also the consenting decree. Here decree is on the basis, decree of divorce is passed on the basis of mutual consent. Are you getting my point or not? Arey bhai, any person come out? Huh? No person is coming out. Arey bhai, whether appeal may lie or not?
Yes, sir, appeal में लाई।
Why?
Sir, Section 28 of Hindu Marriage Act provide this rule.
That's why here actually why I am analyzing the provision of CPC. The reason is to make your concept very clear. So far appellate provisions are concerned, which are being provided under Civil Procedure Code. They are not going to apply in a case of Hindu Marriage Act. Because under the Hindu Marriage Act, the provision of appeal is given under the Section 28. The provision of appeal is given under Section 28. And when it is given under the 28, and here right of appeal is given to parties, then the CPC, provision of the CPC, prevail over the Hindu law. And this against the consenting decree, it is also possible against the consenting decree, it is also possible that appeal may be filed. So this is regarding the compromise which is made by the parties. Now the last theory I want to put before you. The name of the theory is called as customary theory of divorce. Customary theory of the divorce it means what? It has two parts. One is customary and second is special enactment. Firstly, I am coming on the part of the customary divorce. Customary divorce means divorce which is available under the custom. Custom of either party, no. Custom of both the parties. If there is a custom between the both the parties, and if this custom allows divorce, then only the petition may be filed. There is no requirement to file the petition under the Hindu Marriage Act, but by the precedent which is created under the custom, according to that precedent, their divorce may be granted. According to that, divorce may be granted. So this is very important. This is called as customary divorce, and those who are going to opt the practice and they are coming from the area of the Jharkhand. This is one of the tribal communities also living in the Jharkhand. And unique feature of this tribal community is they have the custom. Under that custom, they are also allowed to give the divorce. So if by invoking this custom and the divorce is being actually taken by the parties, there is no requirement to file any petition. Here actually the customary divorce, this is being called as a divorce which is granted by Gram Panchayat. Sometimes it is in the form of the Tyagpatra, it is in the form of the Farkatnama. These words are being used. Now, customary divorce is recognized. So if those are going to opt the practice, please be careful. You should not apply Hindu Marriage Act in relation to divorce of those communities which has custom, and according to that custom, the divorce is allowed. If according to that custom divorce is allowed, what does it mean? It means that the divorce shall only be granted under the custom. There is no any formalities required to be complied with under the Hindu Marriage Act. And this is very clearly laid down by the Supreme Court in the case of the Shakuntala Bai versus Kulkarni. Shakuntala Bai versus Kulkarni. This is the decision of 1989 Supreme Court. It has been pointed out by the Supreme Court that the custom under which the divorce is being actually obtained, this custom is required to be ancient and unbroken. This custom is required to be ancient and unbroken. It means it should be continuous and it should be ancient. Now the question is whether the provision of the Hindu law will apply in relation to that customary divorce. And here the matter is very clear. And the court is very much clear that here sections 14, section 23, 24, 25, 26, all these provision shall not apply in customary divorce. 14, that is 1 year bar. 1 year bar means after the marriage, the parties cannot file the petition for divorce within 1 year after the marriage. So this bar will also not apply. So far as the 23, taking the wrong, taking the advantage of his or her own wrong, it will also not apply. 24-25 maintenance. If there is a customary divorce, maintenance provision will also not apply. So far as the custody of the children 26 are concerned, it is also not going to apply. It means that whole provision of Hindu law will not apply in relation to customary divorce. In relation to customary divorce. So this is very important part, that if there is a customary divorce, then provision of Hindu law is not going to apply. Now, as that is called, that name of the case is Chukuna versus Lakuma. This is a Supreme Court case again, 1969. Chukuna versus Lakuma. This is Supreme Court decision 1989. And here it has been pointed out by the Supreme Court that for the customary divorce, there is no requirement of any petition. There is no requirement of any petition. Here customary divorce may be granted by the Gram Panchayat, caste tribunal, caste panchayat, by, wordings are very clear, by private act of the party, orally or writing, or under an agreement, oral or written. So now the here, verdict of the Supreme Court is very clear. So far as the customary divorce is concerned, there is no requirement for filing any petition. It may be granted by the Gram Panchayat, it may be granted by the caste panchayat, it may be granted by any other tribunals, and it shall be treated as a valid one. Now after that, one thing is very clear, and this is being laid down by the Supreme Court again in 1968. The name of the case is Gurdeep versus Angrez. Gurdeep versus Angrez. This is actually decision given by the Supreme Court. And it has been pointed out that under the custom, divorce is recognized, but that divorce cannot be given against the wishes of a spouse. And if it is given against the wishes of a spouse, then divorce will be void. So it means here actually customary divorce no doubt recognized, but it should not be actually separation. It should not be against the wishes of one party. And if it is against the wishes of one party, then it is void. So now the concept is very clear in this regard. The Supreme Court has actually pointed out in another case that customary divorce ought to be established as the exception of the general rule of divorce. It should be treated as an exception. Now, one more question, which is very important and relevant, that if divorce is by being granted by under the custom, whether the court can interfere? Whether the court can interfere in that divorce? Here the cases I want to put before you, Prema Bai versus Channu Lal. This is the decision of MB High Court. Here actually the marriage was dissolved by the panchayat, and the marriage was dissolved on the mutual consent. But the age of the wife at the time of taking the consent was 14 years of age. In the 14 year, I think you are all knowing well whether the person can be treated as an adult one. because this is the divorce which is given under the custom. And here one of the party, that wife was 14 years of age. Naturally, she had also given the consent. The question in this case was whether the divorce is valid or not. You will be surprised to note that in this case, Madhya Pradesh High Court pointed out that the divorce is valid one. Why? The reason was given that when the girl is of about 14 years, she can very well understand her welfare. So therefore, the divorce which is granted, it has been taken as a valid one. Next one is that next case is Govind Raju versus Muni Swami. Here actually a practice which was being actually taken by the court. This is the case again from the Supreme Court. I am not getting, please come out with the voice. Actually it is.
Sir, in the case of Prema Bai, sir, the court did favor the custom, but custom was against public policy, sir. And custom, it is mandatory that for a custom to be valid, the custom should not be against public policy.
How can you say it is against the public policy?
Sir, allowing a minor to give consent is against public policy.
Minor. Where minor is being defined? Minority, where it is defined? It is a public policy. Minority is defined in law.
Yes, sir.
You cannot say this is against the public policy. You may argue that this is against the law, legal provisions. But here we have also cited the cases, and I have pointed out that the legal provision will not apply in relation to customary divorce. Hindu Marriage Act, these provisions are not applied. Are you getting point?
Yes, sir.
So this is very important, because you cannot say this is against public policy. You may say that this is against the law, but actually the proposition which is laid down by the Supreme Court earlier cases also, that so far as the customary divorce is concerned, Hindu Marriage Act is not going to apply. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Hindu Marriage Act will not be applied, or any law will not be applied.
no, Hindu Marriage Act will not apply. It is categorically laid.
But the word minority has been defined in the Minorities Act. So Minorities Act may be applied, na?
Try to understand. Here the condition for marriage is also laid down under section 5.
Okay.
Whether we are going to apply the Minority Act, Indian Majority Act, we are not going to apply here. In relation to Hindu marriage, under section 5, child marriage is defined. So how you are stating that this Indian Majority Act will apply? Are you getting my point or not?
No, sir.
अरे भाई, मेरा कहना यह है कि हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट यहाँ अप्लाई नहीं करेगा। हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट में जो है प्रोविजन मैरिज का है, और जब हम लोग मैरिज की बात करते हैं तो इंडियन मेजॉरिटी एक्ट नहीं अप्लाई करती है, बल्कि हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट अप्लाई करता है सेक्शन 5।
ओके।
हाँ, तो आप यहाँ इंडियन मेजॉरिटी एक्ट से क्यों डील होंगे? कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थोड़ा है।
ओके सर।
हाँ। Now one more case I want to put before you, and here actually one practice was being before the Supreme Court 1997. No, not Supreme Court, but this is a case. This is actually the case of the Supreme Court. 1997. Here actually the problem which we reached to the Supreme Court was a Sudra wife abandoned her husband and started to live with the another man. The question in this case was, without taking the divorce, the question in this case was that whether she is allowed to live with the another man without divorcing the first one. Here the Supreme Court was very clear on this point. Amongst the Sudras, this is common practice, that wife may left her husband and may live with the another, and it is presumed that after some time that she had given the divorce to the first man and married with the second man. So it is actually the part of the custom which was being actually recognized. Last point I want to put before you on this customary divorce, that whether the court can interfere in relation to customary divorce. The common principle is very clear: the court shall not interfere. Court shall not interfere. But exception is also given. What is exception? If there is a jurisdictional error, if the Gram Panchayat, Caste Panchayat, if they have no jurisdiction and exercise the jurisdiction, then naturally the court may interfere. Court may also interfere on the principle of the natural justice. So only on these two counts the court may interfere in the customary divorce. One is being called that if there is a jurisdiction questions. I think that administrative law you have studied. In administrative law, this is the fundamental principle, that administrative tribunals' decisions, they cannot be challenged before the normal court. This can only be challenged if there is a exercise of jurisdiction by that administrative tribunal, that they had no jurisdiction or had jurisdiction, not exercise it. Only on that point the court can interfere. The same thing here also. Gram Panchayat, caste tribunals, they are also considered as administrative tribunals. And moreover, they are being considered as the administrative tribunal. It means what? Only on the jurisdiction point. Only on the jurisdiction point the court can interfere. Suppose the caste panchayat has no jurisdiction over that caste. The man belongs to another caste, and caste panchayat of particular caste, they have given any divorce. Then that divorce has not been recognized. Here the jurisdiction is not of that caste panchayat. Therefore, this can be challenged. Principle of natural justice, I think that you are all knowing well. Principle of natural justice comprising two elements. One, fair hearing, and second, no person shall be judged in his own bias. No person shall be judged in his own cause, bias. So if there is a violation of the principle of natural justice without hearing the other party, if the caste panchayat has passed any divorce, then naturally it cannot stand. So this is about, tell me.
सर अगर कस्टमी वैलिड नहीं है तो कोर्ट में जा सकते हैं अगर वो कंटिन्यूअस नहीं है अगर इसका प्रूफ
अगर मान लीजिए कस्टम तो वैलिड होना चाहिए. दैट्स व्हाई द सुप्रीम कोर्ट फर्स्ट केस आई हैव पॉइंटेड आउट. हियर द सुप्रीम कोर्ट emphasized that the custom should be ancient. It should also be continuous. If the qualities which is required to be contained by the custom, if that quality is lacking, naturally the court is open for that. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
But once it is established that the custom is valid, then divorce granted by the custom or the caste panchayat, you cannot go to the normal courts. Only on two grounds you can go to the normal courts. One is jurisdictional error. Second one, if the principle of natural justice has not been applied. Any more question?
Sir, just previously, as we were discussing that the minor got divorce proceeding from a local panchayat. Just to corroborate on your point, even in the Indian Majority Act, it has been specifically mentioned in Section 2 Savings Clause that nothing herein contained shall affect the capacity of any person to act in the following matters, namely marriage, divorce, adoption,
Yes.
and
It is especially written in the Indian Majority Act also. No doubt. Any more question? ठीक है, अभी एक पॉइंट इसका रह गया है, मैं सोच रहा हूं कि उसको भी डिस्कस करना बहुत जरूरी है. दैट इज डाइवोर्स अंडर स्पेशल इनेक्टमेंट, क्योंकि ये भी बड़ा वैलिड पार्ट है और जल्दी में मैं बोल दूंगा, 2 मिनट रह गया है, तो दिस विल नॉट बी ए जस्टिस टू दैट टॉपिक. तो एनी मोर क्वेश्चन इफ यू हैव, प्लीज कम आउट. Otherwise, please disconnect, and on Monday we shall discuss it.